And welcome to another episode of the In-Game Boss Podcast, Oklahoma's #1 video game podcast. And I am your host, Jeremy, a.k.a. your retro activist, a.k.a. your in-game boss, a.k.a. your program director, a.k.a. it's time to do a roundup of E3. But I can't do that alone. I need my buddy. Actually, the camera's over here, isn't it? Yeah, I'm always used to being over here. Now I'm over here. So, over here to my left of the screen, my boy Jaron.
A.K.A. the Evil of Aku. A.K.A. Grumpy. A grumpiest of bears, especially after this E3. A.K.A. I'm going to get my Gatorade on.
Get your electrolytes.
Yes, because I'm about to lose a lot of hydration getting angry.
And we're talking about E3. We got to do a roundup. So we're going to get really straight to the point. But before that, I just want to let everybody know, remember, you can find our shows on all your favorite listening spots. Just type in the In-Game Boss Program. If you're listening to us, remember, we are on YouTube. Go ahead and watch us, enjoy us, embrace us. Leave a comment. Yes. We love to hear your thoughts and everything like that. And if you're watching,
product placement.
There you go. Yeah, watch I get marked with that because they saw the 0. Anyways, and for the people that are watching, if you enjoy us and you don't have time to watch us and you're at work and you listen to us, remember, we're on your favorite listening spot: Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. You name it, we're there. If we're not there, let us know. We'll try to make it happen and whatnot. But E3. So E3 has came and gone. It has been an interesting week from Ubisoft, Square, Namco, Capcom, WB, Nintendo, exit EA and Sony, which I thought EA was going to be in this. I guess that was a mistake on me. They're coming back in July.
Yes.
And then there's a rumor talk about Sony coming in somewhere in between or whatever. So, with that in mind, what is our overall thoughts of E3? Now, remember, this is coming off 2 years without a stage presence, None of them got on stage. It's all been video. So, actually coming with kind of an E3 coming back in this way. Jaron, what do you think of this E3 2021?
It was... for those who follow me on Twitter, I didn't make my thoughts too secret. I said I was whelmed. Not overwhelmed, not underwhelmed, just whelmed. It was cool. It was a bunch of videos. It was kind of entertaining reading the toxic Twitch and YouTube chat.
You mean just internet? Just internet.
Yeah.
Internet contains a positive and negative. There's...
It's I have my own little gripes about that, but that's neither here nor there. E3 as a whole, I think the presentations, they were what you would expect. You had your cringe ones where people looked like people who had never been in front of a camera before were talking, and and you also had your presentations where it's like, wow, why did you even show up? Why did you even show up? That's like 10, 15 minutes of my life I can't get back. So, that was it. I mean,
give me a letter.
C+.
C+?
C+.
Okay.
Yeah. It was average, but it wasn't crap average.
Yeah. I'm a flat C because the saviors was Microsoft and Nintendo, and it is kind of saddened that the last E3s of the other publishers were better than this year on presentation wise. And that's probably because due to COVID and everything, a lot of games didn't get developed to show that. I mean, hell, Prince of Persia didn't get a chance to show up after the crazy fiasco of last year and been delayed indefinitely until further notice, which is a good thing, in that way, because we wanted to come back in his prime. So it didn't make it there. But you have to remember that Ubisoft had bust out all their games all last year back to back for that winter, right?
Yes.
The Phoenix Rising, the Watch Dogs, the Assassin's Creed. So really, they don't really have anything else to show for the next thing. And so, and I agree with you. There was a lot of shows of you didn't need to be there. Your videos could have been integrated in other people's shows.
Yeah. I mean, they were. But they didn't need to,
except for Square Enix. Square Enix, not all theirs were integrated because, one, they're really associated to Sony. Since Sony's not doing anything, they're not really anywhere, and then anything that comes on Nintendo, it's either exclusive to Nintendo, you know? And so, and then, of course, but also on top of that, you have Capcom, which, Capcom didn't do very well to me. But that example of that and Square Enix were like, I'm sorry that felt like that was a waste of time because you guys could have just spread out your videos.
Yeah. Oh, if you thought Capcom was a waste of time, Namco Bandai.
Oh yeah, I saw a clip of that.
And then that whatever the hell that was from Intellivision, Amico. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was actually. I thought they were doing a comedy bit, like a Tim and Eric bit.
No, the Limit Run were comedy. If you saw that one, that was comedy. Yes. Not in a bad way. Not in a bad way, because they showed a lot of stuff that were coming to physical. So at least they were weird. It was goofy, but it was intriguing at the same time. So it was cool, but it was better than the other ones.
So, yeah. It could have been a lot worse. Been a lot worse.
Sad I didn't get the chance to see Devolver Digital. We didn't get to see them. I thought they were going to have a presence. Maybe they did. I just didn't see it. If I didn't, leave a comment down below. But I just didn't see anything from them. But overall, I mean, at this time right now, E3 has showed me that everybody can do their own thing and we can leave this traditional E3. How much it saddens me because, it's always been a boy's dream to go to E3. But at a physical place, right? On stage, to see the stage, get your hands on the demos and play the games and whatnot. Because some of those reporters don't get a chance to play these games, to kind of give us feedback on how the game is running, or some more extra footage, more sit down interview talks. We have to go by. We have to go by what we see and hope for the best.
Yeah, and none of those really those rare or exclusive press kits that they hand out or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was sad to see it like that, but it shows here that, like, each month can be someone else's special. Like, you know what I mean? Like Square, like EA say, we got July. Microsoft said, we got September. These people can own their own month of celebration in their own way. And I think it might be for the better. For that whole month, they can display, their own gaming, their own demos, their own showcase, for that month.
It's actually kind of embarrassing that that they're sticking to tradition so much that it's become embarrassing.
I get it though. I mean, it's been around for over 20 years, right? And so people don't want to break tradition, but at the same time, we don't know if we're going to get back to that tradition. So something has to change. I mean, the fact that Jeff Keighley from the VMA, or not VMA, Video Game Awards, VGA. Sorry, VGA.
Yeah.
Didn't really get to partake in E3, so he got to do his own thing. And that right there shows, like, well, seems like Jeff Keighley doesn't need E3 either. And so, for better for worse, Jeff Keighley's okay with me. But at least he's doing his thing. And to me, his showcase brought some stuff better than other people's. So, so apparently, he is a big deal in that way. But until they bring back the stage and all the pizzazz, it's probably best if E3 just kind of goes kind of dissolves a little bit. Should it go away forever? Maybe not. But until something gets back to normal, I mean, I think nothing's changing in my life, sadly enough, that I can watch Nintendo every 3 months for some Direct, or Microsoft every 3 months, or State of Play every 3 months and be just fine.
Well, that's the thing. In practicality sense, E3 is not needed at all, really. But the thing is, these companies E3 has the name recognition. It's the same reason why Evo, even though there are a lot more hype events than Evo is a major name because Evo has name recognition. Mm-hmm. E3 has name recognition. Sony is once again trying their hand and saying, we'll do our own thing because they can. Microsoft needs all the hype they can get, and there are way too many other people with their hands out, wanting money. Too many of those people to let E3 just fade away. The only way E3 will fade away is if Nintendo and Microsoft both completely pull out and do their own things. Like Nintendo kind of is already 1 foot out the door because
they were the first ones to make the big step.
Yeah. So if Microsoft does it as like completely separates and comes up with a catchy, direct type of name, I say ape off of WWE. Say Microsoft in your house.
Microsoft should just buy E3 and just wrap it up.
E3
they're buying everything.
by Microsoft.
Yep.
I mean, but E3 is not going anywhere until some big companies make the hard decisions.
Yeah, and we have to see how long it lasts too, because Sony dipped out twice. This is EA's first time dipping out, so we have to see how many people are going to dip out and never come back. So
yeah,
we have to figure out. But with E3, of course, is about games. And in the later half of the show, we're going to talk about the big two mamma jammas, the Microsoft and Nintendo. But before that, we're going to talk about just some games that popped up to us, a couple of games, just maybe about 2 each, and just talk about games that stood out to us before we get to the big one here. So why don't you tell me your first one, Jaron? Which one was shouting out to you that's not part of Nintendo Microsoft's conference?
Something that wasn't exclusively on the Microsoft or the Nintendo conference.
Or was it?
I would have to say, first one I'm going to put Back for Blood. I'm a sucker for Turtle Rock Studios, not counting Evolve, that can go die in a fire. But I love Left 4 Dead, love Left 4 Dead 2, and I love that they're coming back and they're doing Back for Blood.
Okay. So what did you see that was new from the last trailers and stuff like that? Like anything new stood out to you?
I liked, so they showed a little bit more about the PvP. They explained a little bit more about the PvP, the Ridden and the Cleaners. It looks like they're going a little bit harder into the lore. So you're getting not just, like the old Left 4 Dead, it was 4v4 and you run through the campaign like you always do. In this one, it's more like you have to progress, get as far as you can, while the play field gets smaller and smaller. You basically survive as long as you can against all these different monsters.
Okay.
So I could dig that, and like I said, I've always been a sucker for some Left 4 Dead style gameplay, and unfortunately, there hasn't been a really good. I mean, Vermintide is okay, but nothing really scratches the itch like Left 4 Dead. So I'm eager to see what Back 4 Blood's going to bring.
Yeah, I do need to do a little bit more research in that, because since the event, there's been a lot of P versus E games about the 4 players. I mean, one for Microsoft that got shown was like that, that sci-fi one. To the next one I'm going to pick, and that is the Rainbow Six Extraction from the Ubisoft conference.
Yes.
And that's a 3-player only co-op that you are going into a quarantine, which it was originally called Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Yeah, that aged well.
Yeah. So, and actually, I think that was announced last year, or no, maybe 2 years ago.
It was a year before last, and then and then last year happened, and then they're like, ooh,
yeah. So, I don't know what it originally would look like to now. I don't know what 360 they did there, but anyways, and of course it's kind of the same thing as Back 4 Blood and Left 4 Dead, where you're with a group and you're just going from level. The difference is, what Back 4 Blood to me is it's more survival of trying to get to the next checkpoint. Extraction is more how deep do we want to go to extract information. And so you're going in, and what I like about it is it's more stealthy. And yes, you could say Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood is stealthy too, but this is really focused on stealthy.
Yeah, there's stealth mechanics.
Yeah, and you're inside a building, so you have to be very careful compared to Left 4 Dead and Back 4 Blood, where you're probably more in the opening, with more options and more opening to run around and stuff. But here, you're trying to get in, and you're dealing with these creatures that have these crazy abilities, and you have your certain class as like the other ones that have special stuff. The thing I like about this one though is each class is kind of unique, but not overwhelming unique. So like you have your guy that has a sledgehammer. He's good at just breaking down walls. Do a grenade guy that can throw out sensors and stuff like that. To guy can put on holograms. Like these are little simple things, but everybody kind of have the same weapons, everything like that. And showing they have silencers, they can do stealth like the knife in the back, all this stuff. One of the things I really like is you can X-ray and see a person's parts of their body, and you can stab them. But one of my favorite parts, if you saw the video that they displayed, Jaron, it was like a 9-minute gameplay trailer. You can check that out on YouTube, or you can watch our YouTube reaction of the Ubisoft conference that I did with my buddy Jaron. Shout out to Jaron.
Oh yeah. I saw that recording go up.
Yeah. So our reaction for that was the part where they were walking down and they used their X-ray ability and they saw this person on the other side of this wall and they just shot the wall and shot him in the head. And I'm like, okay, so we can destroy walls. That's cool. And to the point where like you can leave anytime you want, or you can keep going deeper and deeper and deeper.
Yeah,
so
almost like a little bit of that the Division, the Dark Zone.
Yeah. Another Ubisoft, right? You can see that they borrow from everything. Yep. My only issue is how big is this package? Because showing this means like how many of these distractions are we getting? How long is each distraction?
Are they going to get repetitive? Are they going to mix it up? Like Left 4 Dead mixed it up with a director that changed how hard things were depending on how well you were doing.
Yeah, what's the rogue type? The roguelike type. How's the leveling up system? Do you get more add-ons? Will you be able to unlock another class?
It's Ubisoft. I mean, come on, look at Rainbow Six Siege.
I never got a chance to see all of that, but apparently it works. So, but I think this is a different kind of beast. So I don't know if this will get too old compared to the competitive side of two teams. And so unless there was a mode where you have two teams both in distraction, your goal is to both get distraction and sabotage each other. I don't know.
I mean, there were some hints. It's like, oh, you're going to make it. Is so-and-so going to betray you? So
yeah.
It definitely had the extraction part towards the end. It definitely had a Division vibe, but I mean, it looks interesting. I couldn't get into Siege because I'm kind of over the Counter-Strike type gameplay. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll play it with certain people, but I won't play it by myself. So yeah.
So this game and your game are not day ones for me. And for particularly Rainbow Six Extraction, I like it, but so far it's not intriguing $60 like. You know what I mean? Like, you have to show me what makes it $60. Because right now, if I had to just throw a price, which it'll never happen, that looks like a $30 game.
I mean, that'll happen after about 3 to 6 months. They'll do a sale. I mean, that's Ubisoft, though. They always do that.
So I would like to see what happened with that. Plus, I like the 3 players because I think nowadays it's easier to get just 2 friends instead of 3 friends for some reason, or just particularly my group. So it's like easy to pick up 2 and just move on. So I'll go ahead and reverse it and go to me. And the last one is actually from Ubisoft. And
Did you just Uno reverse me?
I know, right? And that's Mario and Rabbids Spark of Hope. I honestly didn't think I was going to like the first Mario Rabbids, and then I bought it and played it. I'm like, you know what? This ain't a bad game. It's XCOM with Mario. And the Rabbids are not that bad to me. I did mention before that, that I wish there was a little bit more variety of the characters for what it is instead of 3 of the same rabbits of the 3 main characters, and maybe that will change there. But I think what I like about it is, one, the galaxy. So it feels like we're taking place in the Mario Galaxy universe. So I'm kind of curious what they're going to do with that. How many galaxies? And did you notice how open and how graphically it changed? It looks great compared to the last one. And more open, way more, but instead of straight, linear. You know what I mean?
It looks like they had more time to. I mean, obviously you have the feedback from the first one, but also they have more time to get more intimately familiar with Nintendo's hardware and developer confidence.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looked a lot. It actually, you know what? If you didn't have the rabbits in there, or even with the rabbits in there, you could probably tell me it's a whole different game. I wouldn't even think it was still in the style of Kingdom Battle.
Mm-hmm. And
You know,
you and
it might not even be. They might mix it up like they did with XCOM 1 and 2.
well, you notice on the battle system is now you're not going from section to section to fight. You just go up to an enemy and then you go right into a battlefield and start your battle there.
Like XCOM, yes.
Yeah, so you go in straight to that now. And the fact that when you saw that each character had a little bit more barrier to run around in the circle of something instead of just go here to here. I don't know if that's different. I don't know if XCOM has adapted that and they saw that. Okay. So
yeah, XCOM had to where you could approach everything all sorts of ways.
Okay. So it seems
it's
like
good to see more of that.
So it seems like they definitely use. It's almost like the platform. Sorry, let me make sure I'm phrasing this right. It's like if you want to do a platform, Mario Maker. It's a great place to learn the 101 facts of it. You want to learn how to do a tactical battle, you go to XCOM. They got the 101 lesson. Like, here's how you do a tactical game.
Yes.
And I feel like that's what Rabbids is doing for that. It's like, let's look what XCOM is doing, and how can we do that and make it our own thing. But make sure we keep the basics of it. So I like what I saw there. And that's not a day one for me, even though it's coming out in 2022. By the way, Rainbow Six is coming out September 16th.
Just in time for the fall.
But I honestly thought Rabbids was going to make it to fall. I really thought it was going to be a surprise and drop it then. But 2022, maybe that's enough time.
If it was up to Ubisoft, it would. They would shove it out. But Nintendo's like, nope.
So
you work until it's done and polished.
Yeah, so it's not a day one for me, but I am excited to play it when it comes to a good price. And it's funny, because of Ubisoft is the reason why you can get this game pretty cheap and not stick $60 forever. I mean, you can probably get it right now for like $14 on like the eShop or something like that.
Yeah,
it's cheap to buy, and so that's why I'm excited about Sparks of Hope. Like, I don't get it now, but it will go down in price. It will not stay at $60.
Yeah, Ubisoft. Anything with Ubisoft's hands on it eventually drops in price, like precipitously.
Yeah.
So it's not whether it does well or not, Mm-hmm. And going back to Resident Evil, Rainbow Six. Extraction. I did, view some of the gameplay and there were some parts that I guess I missed because when I was watching a lot of the E3 presentation, I was multitasking.
Okay.
But I'm not going to tell on myself, but I was multitasking. But I will say that they definitely took some inspiration from Left 4 Dead with some of the enemies. How you do certain things. I was like, oh my goodness, the airlock sequences where you regroup and rearm. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, you Left 4 Dead stealing MFers. But you know what? That's fine. Maybe it'll make it even better because I'm all for more content out there. Mm-hmm. But the thing that'll determine if this is like a real big hit is if we see streamers go nuts on it.
Yeah,
sadly. I hate that it comes down to that. You have a brilliant game, but if a streamer doesn't pick up on it and goes viral, then it's whatever. But if streamers pick up on it, the dude bro running gun, then it'll be successful.
So, any other games that stood out to you?
Yes, I will have to say. Resident Evil. Damn it.
Man,
I was about to say.
You wish Capcom was showing that Resident Evil at their conference. They did an updated 8.
Showed something good of Resident Evil, but no, Rainbow Six Extraction was on my list. But since we kind of covered and messed with that a bit, it's not a day one.
Okay,
I'll sit back and watch it.
So let me ask you this: what game did you see that you were kind of saddened when you saw it? Like, I'm not feeling this idea anymore.
I will say Final Fantasy Origin, I was saddened when I saw it.
Talk about that game. I'll tell you what.
I was saddened. Here's the thing. I was saddened, but I was still somewhat intrigued. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, it doesn't look like crap. I just don't know if it looks like something I wouldn't want to play.
I'm not feeling it, man. My imagination for this Koei Tecmo and Final Fantasy was I wanted to be super fantasy. I didn't want really this dark, grimy, going up the tower, taking on chaos by these people that are from the before Final Fantasy, but they don't dress like they're before Final Fantasy.
They're from 15. They're from Final Fantasy 15.
You got a guy that's straight up trying to be a Dante or a Nero with a shirt on, while these two backups are wearing armor. Like that was a little kind of for me. But I wanted the fantasy, man. I wanted like the armor up, fighting, like kind of like the Neo, but I wanted to be more fantasy, like sky blue, happy, the the fantasy type, not like just a tower to tower to tower by the looks of it. I just was not feeling it. And then of course, the demo came out for it. And I didn't get the chance to play it. I don't have a PS5, but I heard it was broken the first day and then it got fixed. And I don't know, man. Koei Tecmo, I guess other than Age of Calamity, everything is so dark and dim now. And I guess I didn't want this to be the Final Fantasy origin of this. I really wanted to be really fantasy and fight these crazy beasts in the fantasy catalog. But I don't know, man. And it's 3-player co-op. That's kind of cool. But I don't know. I might be a hard pass for me. Cause I guess I want it my way. And I'm like, I'm just not feeling this. Not.
I mean, it's going to be a while before I get my hands on a PS5 anyway. So it's obviously not going to be a day one for me. Maybe there are some crazy beasts and there's some really cool moments that might tip your hand a little bit in the other direction. But if there are, they didn't show it. They were going with the, whole gritty extreme. It reminds me so much of, remember the early and mid 90s, the comics, everything was extreme and Rob Liefeld and everybody had pouches everywhere and huge guns. And it reminds this era and Koei Tecmo and some other companies who are doing these kind of games. It's like they're leaning back into that some more. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to see what they're doing. I know Square, for the most part, they are buying time as much as they can between now and Final Fantasy 16, maybe next year. Maybe it'll be out next year, maybe 2023. But I mean, it's Koei Tecmo. You were lucky, or we were lucky we got that, and we didn't get like Final Fantasy Warriors.
At this point, I'd probably be fine with that. I mean,
actually,
it'd
if
be
they
kind
did
of like
a bunch
Fire
of
Emblem
different characters, yeah.
I mean, it's not different because remember they did Dragon Quest, so it wouldn't be really any different.
Yeah, I mean, but we also got the whole what was it that it was kind of a fighting game, but not really. Came out on PS4 and the Xbox One. It was like it was based off the Final Fantasy PSP games. It was Final Fantasy characters from different timelines, different eras. Yeah,
are you talking about the fighting? Yeah, the Syria.
It was kind of fighting, but not really. But yeah, I think some of the same developers are working on this.
But see, that's the difference, though, right? Like Age of Calamity, Dynasty Warriors, Hyrule Warriors, any of the Warriors. I feel like that's the Koei side. Your Neos, your Ninja Gaidens, that's the Tecmo. This is the Tecmo style. This is not a Dynasty Warriors style. I feel like this is more of a Neo Tecmo, Tecmo kind of game.
Yeah, you think Itagaki was working on this? Yeah,
so I feel like that's the reason why it's so dark. I feel like that if it's Koei, it might be a little bit brighter. Look, let me rephrase it. If it was more Koei style, it'd be more brighter.
The fact that they hinted at are these actually the Warriors of Light and some things like that, based on the original Final Fantasy.
I ain't feeling them.
There were 4 Warriors of Light in the original Final Fantasy. So I'm like, why did they just do 3?
Maybe the 4th one's in there somewhere. We don't know. Maybe the 4th one is Chaos, because they kept saying Chaos in the trailer all over the place.
That's a weird way to bury the lead, but, I mean, if you're going to do, co-op action-packed stuff, like, could you see playing a game as fast-paced as, like, let's say Bayonetta or Ninja Gaiden or Devil May Cry, but playing it with 2 other people co-op?
I don't know.
It seems like it would be a little too hectic for me, but that's just me.
Just have to see how the game runs, I guess. I mean, yeah, it could be. It just depends how crazy and sparkly it is, because sometimes like so many sparks are going on, you just don't see what's going on. But
I mean, I'm not going to write the game off completely, but it's not a day one.
I am not a fan of the character designs. I'm not a fan where this vision is going. So far, I'm going to pass on this until I see something that maybe spark my interest other than Spark of Hope by Mario Rabbids. But yeah, I think another one that really hurt was Platinum Games' Babylon's Fall. A lot of people were very, very upset at the way people see. I, as a gamer, and I think other people, I like art, and art can make up for graphics sometimes. Like if the art looks great, it's great.
Look at the wall behind you.
Yeah, so even like Breath of the Wild, is not graphically amazing, but it's beautiful in the art style it does, and that makes up for it, right? And Babylon Fall looks good. It does look good. The problem is the trailer they show was rough. That's the only problem with it. It just wasn't running very well. And the fact that I honestly thought this was a single-player game, and I was hoping it was a single-player game, because I went back to look at the 2019, and that game was running better than this version that I saw, and I think a lot of people agree. And you saw, multiple 4 people, which now, don't get me wrong, at the end of the 2019 one, you saw a cast of 4 characters, but I thought maybe you just switch those people around. But here, you're playing with 4 people at the same time, running on the same game, and it was looking rough. It was running like almost 30, maybe a little bit less for what it is. The graphics, I'll put it like this. I don't think the trailer showed justice of what this game really is. I bet this game is a lot prettier once it gets all polished up. This trailer looks so rough. I think it easily turned a lot of people off. But the most important thing that turned people off is the live service. That got me really bad. 'Cause I was like, live service, Platinum is really good at just doing the whole package. I don't want to do this live service thing with this game in particular. But hey, I'm probably going to pass on it. Even though I think it looks great, I'm going to pass on it because I'm not a big fan of live service like that.
Yeah, you don't want Marvel's The Avengers again.
Yeah, and you're talking about like when people fighting fast and wait. You saw the way they fought in Babylon Fall. That's a lot going on. You probably don't know what's going on. So there's your answer right there.
Yeah, I will say one that does look like it would be a day one for me. Maybe not on day one, depending on what I'm playing, but it would be a day one contender, is Metal Slug Tactics.
Yep.
I like Metal Slug. I have yet to ever beat a Metal Slug game, but they're fun to pick up and play. But the fact that they are going with, the original or the characters from the first 2 Metal Slug games, I think the first 2, and they're putting a wrapper around it. Mm-hmm. It intrigues me. Now, just my luck, if I did pick this up on day one, and it plays like crap because it's trying to not be XCOM. It's trying to be, it leans into the goofy. Like Metal Slug was always, over the top graphic, but over the top goofy. Mm-hmm. So if they lose that trying to be too strategy based, then that I can see that losing me.
I think the gameplay kind of answers that question, right? Because you can tell that, for example, of the destruction environments that can affect your characters and the enemy characters, like the bridge part. They grenade that bridge, broke, and it smashed people under that bridge. Or under that street. So I like that. So that means like if you're on top of a building, that building could probably be destroyed and you could fall into that crumble or something like that. So that's cool because a lot of tactic games don't really use destructive environments that changes the map. Kind of like not even Advanced Wars does that.
Yeah. I mean, XCOM is the only one that I can think of that does where you can blow a hole in the wall, you can knock a ceiling down, things like that.
Mm-hmm. But I wonder though, if Metal Slug will give you the ability to rebuild something you destroyed. If you had a team to do that, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like, what kind of tactics is it? Is it, mission-based, different map to map like XCOM? Or is it scenarios where it's, multiple scenarios, but you're not only on offense, but you're on defense. You're kind of going back and forth. It's interesting. I'm curious.
I hope that they go all out on it because I want the boss giant mech machines to be on that map somehow. and it's the team's chances to go after, to try to destroy from all different corners or something like that. I think that would be awesome, because that's the coolest part about Metal Slug is those boss fights. They're hard as hell, but they're awesome to watch. Those things just animated.
The designs.
Yeah,
all the designs. I mean, it's the Metal Slug art style in and of itself is iconic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I like games like In the Hunt.
Yeah, and then the fact that like it'll be cool to see a bunch of Metal Slugs in general on the field playing that game. So yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah, that's all I have as far as my non-Nintendo, non-Microsoft.
Okay, so let's get to the big mamma jammas, the two big ones. Now, there's been a huge debate on, and at the end we can decide if we want to, but there has been a big debate on Twitch, Twitter, Ubisoft. Who won between Microsoft and Nintendo? Who won the big two? Since Sony's not there to kind of slice the competition, it's these two giants that came in. So, initial thoughts for both shows. They both did well for what they're doing, but could it have been better? Yes, but we'll leave that to the conversation. So Microsoft, I had to sit for a while, before this recording, sit a while and think about like, did Microsoft have a good show, regardless how I felt about it? And to be honest with you, yes, I think that they fulfilled a lot of Xbox players of what's to come, what their future is, and the most important thing, the exclusives. Now, were those exclusives for me? No. None of these exclusives blew me away as I wanted them to. But at least it's material. They're showing us that they have Bethesda and they're using them for something. From the Starfield exclusive to the Redfall, that was the finale, to the Fallout 76, even though it's probably going to be for both, but still. We're seeing this stuff on top of all the library of their Microsoft games, all the Bethesda games are coming to Game Pass. And I think that's the thing about, I think a lot of people blew away about the Microsoft thing. It's not so much of the games, it's more of these games are day one on Game Pass.
27 out of 30 of those games.
Yeah, I think that's what is intriguing for everybody. And to me, it's funny because it's like, I guess it doesn't matter if the game is good or not. It's just more like it's day one on the Game Pass, I guess, in that kind of retrospect, right? So, but they did, like I said, they did well. I mean, we saw a bunch of these games in their own way, but it is sad that we didn't get to see a lot of games from the last event show up from the 2020, and some of those got answered, like Everwild. Now, let's be honest, I wasn't really interested in Everwild, but I wanted to see if they were going to show up and be upfront. After the Sea of Thieves update of the Pirates of the Caribbean, I thought, hey, maybe Everwild. But we heard the story of Everwild's getting rebooted. So they're getting the Metroid Prime 4 effect. They get rebooted.
Probably won't see it for another year and a half.
Yeah. And there are some games that I did not expect to be there no matter what. Avowed, I definitely didn't think it was going to be there. I knew Perfect Dark was not going to be there. But I wanted to hear the story about the Glunk, the same people that did your SteamWorld Dig and your SteamWorld Heist and your SteamWorld RPG. They're making the Glunk. I really wanted to see more about that. But I think the problem with the Microsoft was the pace. And I think like it went a little bit too long. And there were some games that could have got cut out. And it could have been tightened to just 1 hour. And I say that is because there's some games that announce it's like, well, duh, we know it's coming. Why are we announcing it now? Like Outer World 2. Outer World 2 did not need to be there. Like, we know it's coming.
It was a cute announcement, but yeah.
It was cute, but that didn't need to be there. That could have been outside its own thing or later on. But it didn't need to be there, to me, in my opinion. And then, hang on, let me see here, because I had to look up, make sure all the announcements are there. I guess Fallout 76 is fine to be there and whatnot.
Apparently that game is actually playable and enjoyable now.
Good for them. Microsoft Flight Simulator. I didn't think it needed to be there.
Console.
Yeah, I didn't think it needed to be there. It could have been a separate announcement and been fine. It didn't need to be on the show floor.
I mean, anybody who really wants to play Microsoft Flight Simulator, they're going to play it on the PC. That's the place to play it.
Mm-hmm. But it's day one Game Pass.
Yeah, no, that's cool. They're giving people an option. I don't mind having options. Yeah, maybe I'll check it out.
But it's cool, Psychonauts are coming in August. So I think the cool part about it is Microsoft is basically, there is a game coming from Microsoft every month, which I think I was saying that I wanted them to do. I said I want to release dates, and I said a long time ago that once they release their games, it has to keep going. There's no more excuses. And I think they answered that. I think they answered that for me. They're like, there's no more excuses. They're putting up their guns, especially the exclusive to Starfield, right? That was the first thing they just shot out at you. It is exclusive here. And it's like, okay, that's awesome. It's like, good. I'm glad they got this exclusive. They need something.
People are pissed, but who cares?
Yeah. I mean, look, there can be no more of this pissing contest of why does they get this exclusive and we don't? Because everybody's doing their own exclusives. Microsoft needs their own. Let's move on. And I'll be even further of a dick. I hope they get Elder Scrolls exclusive. I really hope they do. So they can just get some people over there. Make me go over there. You know? I want to buy an Xbox. But after this conference, it's still not making me want to get an Xbox. It's like, I can get this stuff on PC.
Yeah, it's not making me want to do it this year.
Yeah.
Like I may eventually get an Xbox, eventually get a PS5, but not this year.
Yeah. So with that in mind, there wasn't really anything in there, but the pacing was weird, and there was a lot of questionable decisions, like the Halo. I think it's kind of weird that they didn't spend too much time on Halo to talk about what has been changed in the overhaul. It was actually shorter than Horizon Zero. I mean, Horizon, not Zero. Forza Horizon 5.
Oh, Forza
That
Horizon.
was longer than the Halo. The Halo is the flagship. It's, you know what I mean? Like, we got a small little campaign and a longer multiplayer, which I understand. Multiplayer is going to be the bread and butter with the free-to-play, which is an interesting decision. Shout out to them. But the campaign
multiplayer looked good to me.
Say what?
Looked fun. Multiplayer for Halo looked fun as hell.
But the campaign I wanted to see more of. We only saw a glimpse, but I feel like, why are they holding that back? And that gets me kind of iffy. And the last thing is no release date. So my bet is still on the floor of 2022. So
they say Q4 2021. So
they say holiday. Yeah, they say holiday. We don't know. But they're trying to be safe. And rumor has it they're waiting to hear where Call of Duty's releasing their game. That's what I heard, but I don't know. But what about you? What about you, Jaron? How'd you feel about the Microsoft conference?
I mean, I'll put it this way: the Microsoft show had a lot of fun little announcements. Maybe a few. I was like, oh, that looks interesting. Oh, that looks interesting. Even Brandy, my partner, was like, yeah, I might play that. 12 minutes. That looked interesting. I might play that. Age of Empires 4, I was never an Age of Empires person. Like, I played 2 and I think maybe 3. It was cool, but I like that they're bringing Age of Empires back. Atomic Heart looked interesting. It's not a day one for me.
See, I want to play Atomic Heart, but I think that was another one that was kind of pointless to be there because that game has been in development for how long and still have no date. It's cool that it's day one, but you could have done it. You could have done a video later saying it's day one another time when Atomic is getting close to a date. It didn't need to be there at the show.
True, but here's the thing with Microsoft. We have to, I'm not going to say cut them slack, but we have to remember how much we went in on them last year when they said, hey, we got all these companies. We're acquiring all these companies. And we're like, okay, well, you better announce some damn games next year. I mean, they did. They announced a whole bunch of games.
Yeah, but Atomic Heart is nowhere owned by a Microsoft.
No. Atomic, they kind of slipped that in there. Yeah. But hell, 12 minutes. They slipped that in there. 12 minutes, I think that's not owned by Microsoft either. Or I might be wrong. But in any case, yeah, they slipped some games in that are going to be cross-platform. But games like Contraband, Eiyuden Chronicle, they're trying to corner every genre.
Mm-hmm.
Except
for like Japanese RPG games. That's the only one.
That's what Eiyuden Chronicle's supposed to be. It's supposed to be the JRPG, but we both know that if you want JRPG, you're going to get your stuff from Square Enix or you're going to get your stuff from Atlas. And that's going to have its own releases. Mm-hmm. short of Microsoft acquiring BioWare from EA, don't expect much. I will say Forza Horizon 5 looked fun. It gave me mucho Burnout vibes.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
right on.
And it looked absolutely gorgeous. Like, that is something that I would use as a showpiece showing, hey, look at this 4K TV and look at these awesome graphics. Are you watching TV or are you playing a game? You don't know. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. But they've always just kicked ass on Forza. It's always looked great.
I also want to mention that Hellblade is still working on landscaping for that game. So don't expect that game to come out till 24 probably. Like they have not even started development for that game yet. So
I have no problem with that because I haven't played the first one yet. So.
Still, I think a lot of people were hyped because that's going to be their God of War, sort of, right? And I think that one got announced too prematurely. You know what I mean?
Like Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, or Bayonetta. Yeah. So, but yeah.
I mean, in games like but the point of their conference, the biggest point, wasn't just to announce all these games from all these studios they've acquired, but it was to say, hey, guess what? You want our Game Pass? Just subscribe to our Game Pass. Yeah, these are cross-platform, but guess what? Join our Game Pass, and you don't have to worry about acquiring each one individually. Mm-hmm. You can play it day one on Game Pass. That's what they were selling this whole E3.
It's a shame that PlayStation got the exclusive of the other Bethesda games, because I bet if those two games showed up there, it would have just knocked it out of the park to me. And that's Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. But too bad those are on the PlayStation. But those on there would have been cool.
They won't be there forever.
No, it's true, but it'd been awesome to put on the performance because Bethesda only really showed 3 games. Yeah. Right? And it'd been awesome if they showed those too, because Arcane is becoming they're really showing their work. Like, they're putting some muscle in them. Like the Redfall game. Is that another Left 4 Dead idea or Back 4 Blood with vampires? What's that story about?
That did look interesting. It was I did get a lot of Left 4 Dead plus vampires. For a second, I thought it was like, oh, this is some Vampire the Masquerade stuff. No, it's something else. Mm-hmm. I also they said, hey, guess what? All the Yakuza games are on Game Pass now, including Like a Dragon. I was like,
yeah,
oh, well, shit.
Yeah, I guess that's a cool announcement. I guess it kind of needed to be there, I guess, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, sure, why not? There was a rumor that Persona 5 was going to be on Game Pass. I thought that would be a better announcement than the Yakuza games, because there's not a lot of Atlas games other than like Catherine over there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
but anything is still possible.
Yeah, and you know what's messed up? I still haven't turned on my Xbox One. I haven't turned it on in a while. I have Game Pass. I could be playing these games on my PC as well. In fact, I have a terabyte drive that I could probably be using, or even this SSD here, and I could just fill it up with 3 Xbox Game Pass games.
Yeah, but if you are a Game Pass person on PC, I mean, that's a plus for you. Like me, like, this is awesome all coming to Game Pass because it's a plus for me on PC. As I'm slowly getting my new computer built. And I mean slowly, like turtle slow, but it will happen. But I'm prepared for all these games, and it'll be interesting what games are going to be on Game Pass in the future. Maybe that's the next grab. Maybe they need to grab these Japanese ones. Like Final Fantasy VII is not going to be exclusive forever. Is that going to maybe pop over there finally, along with Persona or all these other Japanese RPGs? Maybe that's what they have plans for that.
Here's a kicker: majority, or at least the Microsoft ones, you probably won't have a reason, especially once you get your computer built, your new computer built, you probably won't have a reason to buy an Xbox.
Exactly.
But Microsoft is counting on that. They don't care. It's like, that's fine.
Yeah. Get the Game Pass on PC. We're fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Get the Game Pass. We're putting technology. We're working with TV companies to put our streaming technology in there. You're going to play our games.
Yeah.
And they're like looking you right in the eyes like, you're going to play our games.
Well, compared to PlayStation right now, Xbox is showing us still that they are community. They are giving you access to play these games because, you heard the article of Phil is he doesn't like that you have to rebuy these games. You should be able to buy this game one time and then play it on and switch them on multi-platforms. You can't, unlike other companies, is where like, you get it on the last gen. Now you got to pay for over here,
Yeah. I'm just waiting for that other shoe to drop with Sony, because you can play your PS4 games on the PS5, and PS4 games, get cross-gen or cross-gen games, you can get a PS5 version. I'm waiting for that shoe to drop where they say, okay, nope, you have to you have to rebuy it or whatever. But I agree with you. Microsoft is very much more consumer friendly and community oriented. I mean, they're not perfect, clearly. No company is. But I could definitely say they are more prone to support their loyalists than Nintendo or Sony.
And that right there can even kind of itch me to get an Xbox just to show that support. Like, I'll get it because that's really cool. You know?
I mean, the fact that you could, I'm not going to say majority, but a good portion of OG Xbox games, a lot of 360 games, and all the Xbox One games. The fact that that if you have those, you don't have to throw them out or keep other consoles.
Yeah. So
well, maybe keep the Xbox 360.
So if I had to give a letter to the Microsoft conference, I would probably I'd give it a B+. I thought it was good. Like I said, there was no bangers for me, but if I was a dedicated Xbox person, no other console, I'd be satisfied for what I saw.
It gets a B, just a flat B, because actually B-,
okay,
because of some of the you said Halo Infinite. Yeah, they went in hard on the multiplayer and they said, hey, it's coming out. They're glossing over the fiasco from last year, where they had to push it back because it looked horrible. But I say B- because even though they're showing their work, they're announcing games, they're throwing things out there. They're saying, hey, games. I'm going to take off points because they are also not really, they're not producing the bangers that we want to see, such as we want RPGs and we want more action. So far, everything that they showed that was like Redfall, I could blink and think I could blink watching Redfall and then go right into the Stalker 2 and think I was watching the same game for a little bit. Some of the stuff looked very samey. Same design, same 3D modeling.
Microsoft is known for them having a lot of shooters on their consoles. We established that. And
that's cool. I mean, for every Slime Rancher 2, there's going to be 15 Stalker 2s. That's cool. I had to deduct points for originality.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But they're on the right path, right? We can agree with that. Yeah. They're on the right path.
They're going in the right direction.
Hopefully they'll bring out the big bangers. But one games that are never going to hit Game Pass is Nintendo games. So we're going to talk about the Nintendo Direct. So, Nintendo Direct was that Tuesday? And
yes.
Yeah, and it was I think they said about 40 minutes long. And man, just like Microsoft, they just went in. And I feel like that their showcase flow was a lot better than Microsoft, especially like they didn't spend too much time on each, like giving you these long gameplays. They kind of give you little tips here, like here and here. We'll show you more because the Treehouse was going to answer all those questions.
Yes.
Right? And because I have to give Nintendo extra points, only because it's not Microsoft's fault. It's just the fault of the internet. But the leaks were against Microsoft, right? Like it ruined the surprise of Starfield for people, right? We saw that leak and some other stuff. But Nintendo managed to pull some surprises that we did not see coming. And if anybody said they saw a certain game I'm going to talk about coming, I don't believe you. Because they kept that well hidden. But
their Treehouse is no joke. When they have something, what did I say several shows ago? Nintendo plays everything close to the chest, and you don't see this game until they have a release date for you or a release year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're not making that Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3 mistake again. Ever again.
So it's funny because we got a mixture of really nostalgia and and some new stuff at the same time. Like, let's talk about the games that did surprise us. So I was surprised that there was another Metroid. I think a lot of people were surprised, like, I'm sorry, I don't know the host's name, but the host came on. He's like, "Hey, we want to talk about Metroid Prime 4. We don't have anything yet, but here's something else." And that's cool. They showed Metroid Prime 5, Metroid Dread. This long-awaited saga since the Primes began was this Code Dread that everybody thought it was dead. No rhyme intended. And now it just comes out of nowhere. And it caught me by surprise. And I think it caught a lot of people surprise. And the fact it is by Mercury Steam, the same people that did your Metroidvania studio, basically, because they did Castlevania on the DS, and then they did Metroid Samus Returns. So them coming back with this Switch game in general, I was intrigued by it. I thought it was pretty cool what I saw. I like the robot that chases you down. It kind of gives you that fusion, when you had the evil Sam X chase after you through that one. So I like the way it looked. I had to get used to Samus's new armor design. It looked kind of weird, like the helmet was a little bit smaller than the body, but it is what it is. But once the game started flowing, I'm like, man, this game could probably run at 60 and it'll probably look awesome. But that one, Advance Wars, that was a big surprise.
That was a surprise for everybody. That hit everybody right in the nostalgia nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But let's go to Metroid 5 first. What's your thoughts on that? What do you think?
I only played a handful of Metroid games. I like them. I don't dislike them. It's just that there's been nothing has really drawn me in. I want to give Super Metroid another try. I want to finish the Metroid Prime trilogy that I have. I like them, and I like the world building, but it's never really sucked me in. That's why I didn't get Metroid Samus Returns. Mm-hmm. But Dread looked interesting. If I were not me and I were someone else, it would definitely be a day one buy. Mm-hmm. I mean, and apparently it is for a lot of scalpers, because within minutes of seeing that and the pre-orders going live, eBay was just full up of listings.
Yeah,
so.
I mentioned it on my Twitter, and I mentioned to you that I was interested in getting the special edition. Interested is a strong word, because it's like, I'm not going to be able to get it. I got to save my money up for stuff. But I was interested in the special edition. But of course, it's going to sell out if you don't get it right then and there. And it did. And and the scalpers are coming to take advantage of that, of course.
Now here's the thing. If Nintendo's smart, it's like, you scalpers got the first batch. Then closer to release, we're going to release the larger wave of stuff.
That would be nice of them. But we have to see.
That would be nice of them for that and the amiibo.
Yeah. But I enjoy for what that is. That would be a day one for me, but I honestly don't know if I'll get it day one. But that is a day one game for me. And same thing with Advance Wars. I play a little bit of the GBA. I liked it on the GBA. People are saying that the trailer didn't look probably that good, but they said the treehouse looked better once you saw the game in motion and whatnot. And it's from Way Forward, the people that brought you Shantae. And so I like Way Forward. I really like their work and everything like that, which is weird because I honestly thought this is going to be more hand-drawn than the whole looking like toys. So that was a big surprise difference. And I want to support it because I think Advance Wars deserves to be up there with Fire Emblem because, it's from they're from the same people, Intelligent System or whatever.
Yeah,
that did both of these
systems.
Yeah, so I really want Advance Wars to go up there. And I think it made a lot of people nostalgia about it because you haven't had an entry for 20 years.
Yeah, not since the DS.
Yeah, so that might be my only day one for that, and that's coming out in December. As Metroid's coming out in October.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, I lied. Advance Wars is not the only one. I was very happy and surprised that they were putting Shin Megami Tensei 5 in the forefront as their big hit for November. That is a risky decision for them.
I mean, I think they know what they're doing because they found that they have a large enough audience over here for one, Atlas games, period. Two, Shin Megami Tensei, because think about how much success Persona 4 and especially Persona 5 got. So now that they got their hooks in everybody's like, hey, you like Persona? Come get some of this Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, and then the fact that Nocturne was released a couple months ago to see if anybody would like it with that Mercy mode, so maybe people can get into that a little bit more.
Yeah. So, I mean, but that's been the trend the last handful of years is bring an old game or a series back up with a remastered or remade version, and with the unspoken threat of, if you want to see a new entry, you better buy the hell out of this old one. So, but that's what we're seeing with Advance Wars. You want to see more Advance Wars? You better hope it sells really well.
Yeah. Or, it's good that Nintendo is giving these other studios a chance to do something with them. So it gives them free hands to go work on other stuff. And that's what they need to do a lot. Like, if they didn't ask for Way Forward, maybe Advance Wars would never exist. You know what I mean? Or Mercury Steam for Metroid. So, like, I'm glad Nintendo is taking a chance on these developers that they trust to do these titles and be with them on this voyage. And that shows the possibility of old other icon characters that can get some light given to the right developers.
Yeah,
so
they're basically giving their B and C tier and D tier characters. They're very rare that they let somebody touch their A tier. Ubisoft, Koei Tecmo.
Yeah.
But for the most part, they're letting other companies, other developers run with their B and C tier.
And I think that should go along with F-Zero. I think that should go along with F-Zero and your boy Star Fox. I think someone else needs to take Star Fox and see what they can come up with.
Yeah, we're probably going to get it's not an official prediction, but we're probably going to get an F-Zero and a Star Fox collection or something. And then they'll see how, because I enjoy Star Fox Zero, but I know the sales and the failure of it kind of put that series into hibernation.
Yeah.
F-Zero, I don't know what the hell they're thinking, because, the last one we got was GameCube.
Yeah, it's been over 15 years, probably more than that.
It's going on 20.
Hell, even the most risky of Earthbound in the future, but that's a different talk for another day. But back to Shin Megami Tensei 5. I am excited about this because I want to give this game a chance on this one. This one looks like it definitely, you could tell that they took a lot of ideas from Persona 5 to really give this a nice wax of what it is, because Shin Megami Tensei is more hardcore than Persona.
Yes.
Like, Persona 5 is actually not that hard of a game, but this one is harder because you are solo with the Pokemon system, right? You collect, people join, you evolve them, they get better, and you move on. Now, one thing that fooled me...
They don't even join the usual way. You have to find different ways to get them to join.
Now, what fooled me, though, is I didn't know that was a girl. That was a boy the whole time. But I never got to hear the voice until that trailer. It was all Japanese. So
Yeah. They're definitely... This Shin Megami Tensei 5, this might be their Fire Emblem Awakening, so to speak.
Yeah. So I want to help support that if I can, so I might pick that up. That might be a day one but if I had to choose between one of that, I think I want to do Advance Wars. But if I have extra money, I'll probably pick up the Shin Megami and just get the original edition. I'm not going to pay like over the $120 edition. Probably just get the traditional one and be fine.
Yeah, I was about to say the $120 edition is supposed to be Japan only, I thought.
Oh, you might be absolutely right. So,
I mean, but with a lot of Japanese Switch games, you can play them on the American Switch. So I already know people who are like, selling stuff in order to afford it. I might get it physically just because Atlas Games. I don't know. This has such fanfare. It might not be one of those low print run Atlas games.
I don't know. Anything is possible. I mean, look at Xenoblade Chronicles. Somehow that became limited. It just depends.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Sorry.
And the expansion. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
And I say the same thing with the Xenoblade. I think sooner or later that's going to start disappearing too. Because it came last year. So we'll see what happens down the line.
Yeah, I'm not flipping my wig too much, because the original Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii became like super hard to find for a while, and then now you can find it anywhere. So
yeah. So what did you think of some of the Mario games that got announced, like the Mario Party Superstar?
Mario Party Superstar, I think that, my initial impression was, oh, cool. It's kind of like that 3DS, the mini games.
Mm-hmm.
Then when they said, oh yeah, it's based on all the board or some of the boards and games from the N64 era, I was like, oh, that's a cop out. You could have just released a Mario Party collection, collected the first 3 games.
I feel like it's almost trying to be a Mario Kart 8, but Mario Party edition, right? You're getting the best board games with the best mini games.
Yeah,
Put it on here.
but they're giving you the game boards too, so it's essentially a Mario Part. You're essentially getting a new Mario Party game, but it's just not a new. They're not calling it a new entry in the Mario Party mainline series, but it is. It is and it isn't.
Let's talk about the other surprise. The surprise that no one, I think, asked for, but it came out anyways, and people forgot that it exists on the Wii U, and that's the Fatal Frame 3. Not Fatal Frame 3, sorry.
It's 5.
Fatal Frame Maiden of the Black Water.
Yeah, it was the first
I don't remember
Fatal Frame.
anybody asking for that game to be ported over, but I guess that's cool. I might want to give it a try now, but people forgot that game exists until it got over. Like, oh yeah, there was a Fatal Frame. That's a Capcom game. So, yeah, that was a big surprise.
Playing on the Switch. I mean, imagine just going around playing on the Switch and just taking pictures. I mean, it's not my bag, but it looks for anybody who likes survival horror.
This is the best. This is the best way to get noticed better than on the Wii U, right?
Yeah.
So, along with like WarioWare. I have never really touched a WarioWare game, and this one here, it looks interesting, but I don't know if it whets my appetite.
It's a fun. I mean, it's going to have that Nintendo tax, so you're probably rarely going to see it below the asking value. But the WarioWare games, I've played one or two of them. They're fun, and they're literally what they are. They're just little tidbits. Just you got about 10 minutes, or let's say you're one of those folks who plays their Switch on the toilet. Boom, bowel movement. You knock out 3 or 4 mini games.
Thank you for that graphic detail.
Hey, I didn't go into super detail. We all know how long people sit on the toilet for if they're playing Switch.
I think one of my favorite trailers was the Tekken surprise for the Smash Brothers. I died laughing so hard on that part. It was just awesome. The whole him standing on the cliff and then he's just beating up people and throwing them off the cliff. I think the biggest tease was when they show Ganon, because people thought it was like, oh, is this part of Breath of the Wild? And it's just such and such. I'm sorry, I'm butchering his name.
Kazuya.
Yeah, Kazuya. He just throws him off. Then it was Captain Falcon. The only thing I was upset, they never did Ryu. I wanted him to throw Ryu off the cliff, and it just never did it.
What's funny is that Harada, one of the producers or lead producer for the Tekken series, Harada's Tekken project team actually made a tableau painting showing Kazuya holding Ryu by the throat off the cliff, with all the other Smash Brothers characters looking on in shock or whatever. So they were sitting on this secret for a hot minute.
Yeah. So I love that. I love the fact that they got one of the spring fighters from what's that boxing arms. Yeah. And like dragging it and got his foot caught into it, is like kicked it off. You're a big Tekken fan. How did they do for him? Well, Kazuya, did they did they do a good job to you?
I don't play Kazuya, I play against him, but from the moves that I saw, I mean, it looks pretty accurate. It looks like they're going to put a bunch of his strings as part of his attack. Now, what's funny is if they're going to, well, I know they're not going to do it. They're going to do like Ryu, where you could do either the motion like the Street Fighter games, or you could just do, forward and a smash button or special move button to pop off his fireball or his dragon punch. If they do that with Kazuya, that's going to be interesting because of his electric wind god fist, And I mean, the Tekken community was kind of laughing, but mostly because of the reaction of a lot of hardcore Smash players. They're like, "Oh, another Shoto clone," and I'm like, that's not the. For those who don't know, for the few who don't know, a Shoto is basically a Ryu or Ken-like character. Fireball, a spinning kick, and a rising uppercut. Kazuya is not a Shoto character. So there's a big foo-furah on Twitter about people not knowing who Kazuya was. or people who knew who Kazuya was, but they were playing dumb just to try and get a reaction out of people. So
trolling people.
Yeah. It's Twitter. Twitter, social media rewards people being pricks than people being nice. Mm-hmm. So, but I look forward to it. I don't have any of the fighter packs, but I think Kazuya is a very excellent ad. And my prediction that it was going to be another sword character rustle your jimmies. Some jimmies got rustled, just not yours.
And no Waluigi. So,
well, we still got one more DLC character.
Yeah. I was going to say, by the time you decide to get the season pack, it'd be awesome because it's all right there. You don't have to wait anymore. So
exactly.
It's all right there for you. So, let's go ahead and talk about the big hitter at the very end, the finale, and that is the secret title that is the new Zelda Breath of the Wild that will be coming out for 2022. So they're claiming so far.
Let's include all the Zelda stuff in general.
Okay.
Because they also announced that Game & Watch, Zelda Game & Watch.
Okay, so you got the Game & Watch, which already I think is a better edition than what they did for Mario.
Yeah, I already got it pre-ordered.
Good
fall.
for you! How much did it come? How much did it cost?
It's like $50.
Oh, okay.
So it was the same as Mario. Thing is, Mario, everybody thought it was going to be so hard to find. Sometimes if you catch a good day, you can get it for $40.
Yeah, so I kind of want to get that Game & Watch Zelda one because it just doesn't. I think Zelda Edition got more justice than the Mario.
They gave it more games, like the Mario Game & Watch. You got Mario and then Lost Levels or Real Mario 2, and that was it. And that's fine. Zelda, they're like Zelda 2, Game Boy Link's Awakening, and maybe you'll get a backlit screen so you can see what the hell you're doing. At first the cynic in me was like, oh boy, a re-release of 2 games I could play on the Switch already, and the third game I could play a remastered version.
There's your collection. Half of your collection is on that Game & Watch. The other collection will come later.
Yeah. But we all know the collector heads are going to lose their shit about it. So, but there was that, and of course they went in more on the Skyward Sword. Whoop-de-doo. Still disappointed they didn't do Twilight Princess or Wind Waker. Port that over from the Wii U. They didn't have to do anything special. Just port it over.
Okay. Now here's the thing: if it happens again like Deja Vu, 3D World came out early next year. Maybe a Zelda might happen like that. I don't know.
Maybe, or we'll just have to wait. 5 more years for the 40th anniversary.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. But yes, Breath of the Wild 2. We got a little bit of hints of a cinematic, and then we got to see some initial alpha gameplay.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect this to be out until spring 2022 or fall 2022.
I'm calling fall 2022. Fall 2022.
The fact they said 2022, I was like, ooh, they might pull a mind scrambler on us and do spring and say, hey, guess what? Switch Pro and Zelda Breath of the Wild 2.
The only reason I say that because I don't know where Splatoon's going to come.
True.
So
Splatoon 3 seems like a summer game anyway, but
and then you remember Pokemon, the new Pokemon's coming in January.
Yes.
They said.
We'll probably hear more about Splatoon and the Pokemon stuff the next Direct, maybe in the fall. But Breath of the Wild 2 looks like they're going to take, obviously aspects of the original Breath of the Wild, and they're going to give them, a flamethrower. They're going to give modified enemies. You're talking about Age of Calamity, right? No, not the Age of Calamity, not the expansion pass. I'm talking about
you said flamethrower, and I'm like, what? Okay.
Oh yeah, no, they showed in the Breath of the Wild 2, like he had some thing on his arm. I'm guessing Link gets different arm attachments.
Okay.
And one of them shoots flames out. It's interesting. I was kind of hoping they would show like maybe you could also play as Zelda or something like that.
I think if that's true, I think they still want to hide that.
Yeah.
Because maybe that's to do with the title. Maybe it's a dual thing. We don't know. But I think it was awesome just to see him fly in the sky. I don't know. I guess I'm a sucker for stuff in the sky. I don't know why, because I like Bioshock Infinite, and that takes all place in the sky. So seeing this land, just all these pieces breaking up and going to the sky, it kind of hypes me up. But it's weird, because Skyward Sword was kind of lame, because everything was still taken to the ground, and there was one thing that was in the sky. You know?
Yeah.
I like that you got a whole land in the sky, and then you have the ground where, almost like Gravity Rush, everything's in the sky. I don't know why. I guess sky is just, it attracts me. So maybe that's just a trait I've realized, but I like the way it look. I like the way Link, cool hair, dude. I like the way Link look. I like, oh man, just let that hair frizzle. That looking nice. You looking badass. He's just having a rough day, and that's a badass rough day.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll go a darker slant. They're saying it's going to be, parts of it are going to be darker. Maybe he does lose his arm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he does lose his arm. Maybe because he thought Ganon was vanquished, but the fight wasn't completely finished, and now parts of Hyrule are up in the air, like you were seeing the Hyrule Castle. Or I don't know. Or maybe this ties into Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity, and I'm not all the way through the game yet, but I'm getting hints of tinkering with time travel. Maybe that fucks up the timeline. And now Breath of the Wild 2 is the fallout from that. Who knows? Okay. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting way of connecting it all together.
I think I'm curious about how the new moves, like for instance, like the part where they show like the teardrop fall in the pond in a reverse, and then you saw yourself teleport through a wall. Or teleport through a wall, and I'm kind of curious of what other mechanisms are they hiding behind the scenes. That's something I have to really watch that video and see what secrets are behind certain things. We don't know if dungeons are going to exist in this one. We don't know anything yet. But
weapon degradation.
I actually like the weapons breaking.
I got around it. I mean, it's you just carry multiple weapons and you pick and choose what you. You fight. I didn't understand why so many people were bitching about it. It was a mechanic.
I think the same people that are upset about it wanted a traditional Zelda. So,
well, you're not going to please everybody. All you can do is just say, "Shut up! You're going to buy our game anyway."
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting how you fly up or fly down. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I'm very excited with what I have seen so far. And I can't wait to see more information about it, because I know they're going, once that game is coming close to release, they're going to milk it by showing you a bunch of stuff. So I'm very, very excited about that.
I wish Netflix or some company didn't piss Nintendo off and get the Zelda series they were going to do canceled, because that could have been a good tie-in too.
Yeah, but we need to go ahead and we're going to slowly get ready to wrap this up. But we need to give this one a grade. So, Jaron, your turn this time. What do you give the Nintendo Direct?
I will give them a B+. Mm-hmm. A B+ because, instead of a flat B, because they did bring some. They tickled the nostalgia balls, but they didn't get an A because they didn't tickle them enough.
Okay, I'm actually going to give it an A. Not A+. Not A++. Actually, I think I'm going to give it an A-. I'm going to give it an A-. I give it
shrewd, aren't we?
No, I give it an A- because I like the way the Direct went. I like the way the flow went. I like all the games they announced on there. But the A- goes to a couple of games that I guess is because I wanted another surprise, because we already got the leak for the Shin Megami. The Metroid was surprised, and the Game Boy, the Advance Wars was surprised. But I wanted one more, and I wanted to be Bayonetta. I really wanted to be a Bayonetta to kind of throw it in there as a surprise. But I also wanted something just random, or you're touching that game? What the hell? Or just a new IP. Maybe that's another thing too. I would love to see a brand new IP that Nintendo's working on. And the last one is I wanted something from Monolith Soft. Your people that bought your Xenoblades, your RPG Factory. I wanted to know what they're doing over there, and they didn't show that, and I wanted that one, because those are the ones that, you want massive, that's the one. And so, yeah. But I like the flow. I like the way everything went. I just wanted another surprise. And, yeah, Monolith Soft, I think I would love to see what else they were going to pull out, especially that mysterious game of like this medieval girl. I'm like, what is that game? I want to know. So I'm an A- for this one. Is it their best? No, it is not their best.
Far from their worst, though.
Yeah. So now, with that being said, I guess we both agree that Nintendo, out of a presentation wise, was better than Microsoft. I think maybe you agree or disagree, but I think Microsoft could have tightened their show a little bit more instead of kind of dragging it out a little bit longer with a lot of games. To me personally, that could have been kind of pushed away from the show, cut off from the show, and hit it really hard with an hour.
The editors and producers of the Microsoft show, they were kind of eager to, shut all those people up who were saying Xbox doesn't have any games. They were eager to shut those people up, saying, guess what? All the games, you're going to have so many games, just going to stuff them down your throat until you can't even breathe anymore. All the games. Mm-hmm. So, and unfortunately, because of that, they got overly excited, and then they just and they rushed. When haste makes waste.
Yep. But with
Nintendo's always been polished. They have directs for a reason.
You think so?
Well, that's the thing. Nintendo's polished their presentation because of their directs. I mean, I was telling you before the show, Nintendo does not announce something unless Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3 notwithstanding. They do not announce something unless they know where the hell it's going to be.
Okay.
Because that's the one, I guess, one of the benefits of having such tight control over your properties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the fact that they were last, so like they get that finale if like, they have to come big with it, or, they're just going to be disappointing. Right. So, but that doesn't mean that we're correct. We want to hear your comments below. Who do you think really won? Is it Microsoft or Nintendo? Hell, if you want to throw in Ubisoft and Square and Capcom, go ahead. I don't think you will, but why not? Throw it in there if you like.
You better not say Intellivision Amico. I will find you.
But I want to thank everybody for listening to this episode as we talked about our E3 roundup. And like we mentioned before, you can find all our stuff on the platform and YouTube itself. And we love to hear your thoughts and your suggestions and all of that stuff as we move on through E3 and take on the rest of the summer and fall as we get ready for those. And awesome episodes coming up I can't wait to talk about. If you want to find us personally, you can find me as RetroAmp on Twitter.
And you can find me as @TheGrumpyBear84 on Twitter.
Yes.
And that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. But no, I want to thank everybody for listening to the show. So with that, thank you so much, and we will catch you on our next episode. Stage clear. Let's go.
New high score coming in 2022.